You know, people think elections are won and lost in buzzing television studios, but they're not. Real political battles, they're won in the soil of the constituency. They're decided by the condition of a village road, the promise of a real job, the trust you have in a local leader. Today we're going deep into one such battleground to really understand how democracy works on the ground, village by village, vote by vote. This is the story of Seyochung Sitimi.
So let's zoom in, right here in the heart of Nagaland, Assembly Constituency 59. Now this isn't just some line on a map, it's a community defined by its very unique identity. As a 100% scheduled tribe seat, dominated by the Songtam Naga community, politics here is woven deeply into heritage, into collective dreams. In the last election, it was a nail-biter between the National People's Party, the NPP, and the BJP. To get the politics, you first have to get the people.
And this is really the core idea of what we're doing here. The health, the friction, the future of India's democracy, you won't find it in the big national polls. No, it's revealed right here in the tiny, granular details of a single constituency. Seyochung Sitimi is our blueprint today. By taking apart what happened here, we can start to see the forces that shape outcomes all across the country. So, let's get into the data.
To start, we have to look at the cold, hard numbers, because before we can get to the why something happened, we need to be absolutely crystal clear on the what. And the numbers here, they tell a story of a fight balanced on a knife's edge.
This single number, 930. Just let that sink in. In the 2023 election, this was the entire margin of victory. Out of more than 22,000 votes cast, the whole thing was decided by a group of people that could fit into one big village meeting. It's a powerful reminder that in these contests, every single relationship, every family, every last vote holds immense weight. And this chart here breaks down that razor-thin margin. You see the National People's Party, the NPP, they took the seat with just under 12,000 votes. Their main rival, the BJP, was breathing down their neck with 11,000, a gap of less than 4%. This was not some big wave election. This was a tough, hard-fought battle of inches, won by getting just a few hundred more people to the polling booth than the other side.
But to really get what happened in 2023, you have to rewind a bit. Look at 2013. The Naga People's Front, the NPF, was the dominant force here. They had nearly 58% of the vote, with an incredible 98% turnout. But just 5 years later, by 2018, something had shattered. Their vote share just collapsed by over 11 points, and they lost the seat. And by 2023, they weren't even in the race. This isn't just a party losing an election. This is a structural collapse. So what on earth happened?
And that question, that gets us right to the heart of it. Mandates aren't permanent. They're built on things, on trust, on organization, on a message that makes sense. And when any one of those pillars starts to weaken, the whole building can come down. So we need to do a kind of political autopsy here to really understand the root causes of that decline.
You see, the NPF's collapse, it wasn't because voters just suddenly changed their minds. It was kicked off by a series of major systemic shocks. In 2017, the party literally split apart. Its own leader left to form a new party, the NDPP. That one move rerouted the entire political map. The BJP's alliance support, it shifted over to this new party. And then came the bleeding of talent. 21 sitting NPF MLAs defected. The result on the ground was a disaster for them. The Songtam Naga vote, which was their bedrock, was now split. The machine was broken.
And all of this high-level political drama has real consequences for people's daily lives. A weak political organization creates a vacuum. It fails to solve the problems that people actually care about. Look at this table. Bad roads, no jobs, corruption stopping welfare from reaching families. These aren't just bullet points. This is the reality people were living with. And you know, the right to demand development, to hold leaders accountable, that is absolutely fundamental. It is about responsible public speech, and it's about basic human dignity.
And out of all that public pain, a very powerful political narrative is born. 3 simple words: development not delivered. This becomes the rallying cry, the main weapon for any opposition, and it is brutally effective because it connects directly to those grievances we just talked about. It turns all that frustration into a clear, simple, and very emotional campaign slogan.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, a broken organization and a failure to address what people really need. Now we turn to the solution. How does a party rebuild from a position like this? It can't be random. It needs a disciplined, structured blueprint, a doctrine for winning back both trust and the right to govern.
The approach is called the Chatur Mukha strategy. It means four-faced, and it's based on the idea that a political victory has to be fought on four coordinated fronts at the same time. You need precision on the ground, that's your electoral focus. You need the organizational muscle to get things done. You need absolute clarity in your message, and you need to manage your resources effectively to keep the campaign going. If you neglect even one of these, the whole structure is at risk.
Let's break down that first pillar, electoral focus. This is all about getting granular, getting down to the details. The focus has to be hyper-local. I'm talking door-to-door, strengthening every single polling booth. It means using data to find those swing hamlets, the villages that aren't loyal to any one party, and putting your energy there. It means using modern tools like WhatsApp groups to talk directly with young people and with elders. And finally, it demands flawless execution on polling day to make sure every single one of your supporters actually casts their vote.
Now, all that groundwork is crucial, but it's wasted if your message isn't crystal clear. That's the third pillar, narrative clarity. And it connects right back to those grievances. The central message is locked in, development not delivered. But you have to defend that message. You need teams ready to counter propaganda and misinformation. And crucially, you have to speak this message in local dialects to build a real emotional connection. And you humanize it by telling the personal stories of people affected by these governance gaps.
A strategy, of course, is just words on paper without the right person to lead it. The ideal candidate isn't just some name on a ballot paper. They are an archetype. For a place like Seyochung Sitimi, this is the tribal community champion. This person has to be a respected leader from the Sangtum community. They need a clean image, deep grassroots connections in every single hamlet, and the energy and charisma to get the youth excited. It all comes down to credibility.
So we have the diagnosis and we have the strategic blueprint. The final piece of the puzzle is always execution. How do you turn these ideas into a winning campaign on a fixed timeline? Well, you need a 90-day ladder, a clear phase-by-phase plan that builds momentum, step by step, all the way to election day.
This timeline here shows you that methodical buildup. The first month is for quiet prep work. You're finalizing the candidate, building your core team. The second month is the launch. The brand goes public, and you begin your digital offense. The third month is all about intensive mobilization, big rallies. And that final week, that is an all-out ground offensive focused on one thing and one thing only, getting your voters to the polling station. Each phase builds on the one before it.
And this brings us to what a modern Indian election really looks like. It's a hybrid. As you can see here, the traditional methods are still absolutely essential. You cannot win without big rallies and door-to-door canvassing. But now, those methods are supercharged by modern tools. WhatsApp groups support local meetings. Social media reels can carry your message much further than any paper leaflet. But as we use these powerful new platforms, we have to remember the responsibility that comes with them. Building genuine trust means respecting people's privacy and their consent. It's not just a legal framework. It's how you build a lasting, dignified relationship with your constituency.
So we end where we began, really, with a fundamental question. After all the data, all the strategy, all the digital tools, does the future of democracy still come down to something as simple as a broken road that represents a broken promise? The evidence from Seyochung Sitimi strongly suggests that yes, it does. Technology changes the methods, but it does not change the mission. The fundamentals of democratic accountability, of listening to the people, of earning their mandate, those things remain timeless. That is the purpose beyond politics. If you want to become a people-centric leader and uplift your constituency, get in touch with blueprintstrategies.ai at mgr@blueprintstrategies.ai or call 804-204-1602. Purpose beyond politics.